So, Hare Krishna Prabhus. So, welcome all of you for this last section of Bhakti Shastri course of unit of Bhagavad Gita. It is not but last but one section of Bhagavad Gita section. So, before we start, as we are going to continue this for around 1 month, means more than 8 sessions, I would like all the devotees, at least because many of the devotees I know, those who are from Pune, many of you whom I know, I would like to know if you can write in the chat box about what you are currently, means from which place you are or where you are staying currently, and since which year you have been connected to Krishna consciousness. So you can write this thing so that I can understand, and for at least next few sessions, we can take examples accordingly. So how many of you, just you can mention in the chat box in which voice or where, whether you are staying at home, whether you are staying at voice, and since which year you have been connected to Krishna consciousness. These two things all the devotees can type in chat box. I hope there is a facility to chat for all the participants. So please. Okay. So Shantanu Prabhu is staying in VIT voice, currently staying at home and connected since 2014. Haribo Jai. That is the year when I joined PDC, 2014. Yeah. Okay. Other devotees also can write to everyone. Aradhna Prabhu in Rajdham voice. Very good. Devi Prasad Prabhu from Burla, currently in Odisha. Okay, since 2019. Amazing. So fast. Then 4 years, Bhakti Shastri. Sumit Prabhu, connected since 2015. Jai. Arjun Sarthi Prabhuji. Yeah, my God. Prabhuji, one of the senior most devotee, I guess, here. Since 2004. Is like father for all of us in Bhakti. So, Hare Krishna, Danat Pranam Prabhuji. Then Mayuresh Prabhu, since 2017. Mohan Saka Prabhu. Jai. ISKCON Hadap Sir. Jai. Shekhar Prabhu, 2016, from Bhubaneswar. Asim Prabhu. Okay, Asim Prabha Prabhu. Wow, so nice name. Anil Prabhu, in 2018, Gita Life. And Mardul Krishna Prabhu. Mardul Krishna Prabhu is connected since 2006. Hare Krishna, Danat Pranam Prabhuji. You're also one of the very senior devotees here. And Chandrabhushan Prabhu, connected since 2009. Very good. Hare Krishna. Nayan Prabhu, 2012. He is also Rasik Raj Prabhu, 2011. Mayapur Vihari Prabhu and Vishnu Prabhu. Ashish Prabhu. Jai. Thank you so much, Prabhus, for your all these inputs, and many more are coming. So before I start, till now, all of you had a very wonderful discussion by two very amazing Vaishnavas, His Grace Amshu Prabhuji and His Grace Murli Mukund Prabhu. And like I remember in the college days, there were certain lectures which were like very sweet, and people used to go to the college and they used to like it reciting and all. And there are always certain lectures which are very technical, and especially when the devotees come to the technical rasa, like we have many rasas in the Bhagavatam, Virya rasa, Hasya rasa, Rudra rasa, and there are sometimes technical rasas, especially those who have read Bhagavatam. The prayers which come in the Bhagavatam about personified Vedas, and the prayers by the demigods, and the prayers by Gajendra, and prayers by sometimes even by gopis. Certain prayers become too technical, and it really appears when this will end and how Arjuna could digest it. I always used to get question how gopis who are not so literate girls but offering so technical prayers. Kunti Maharani offering sometimes so technical prayers. So we find the scriptural knowledge was a very prevalent during all those times, very, very common. So currently we are in a section of Bhagavad Gita, which is going to be little technical. And I can myself say, for many, many years together, I used to just skip this section. I never should dare to start this section of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. But since last few years, almost 2-3 times when I had these readings of this section of Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter onwards, then I could really appreciate this, underlining every purport, every line of the purport, and going through the Acharya commentaries. This became very relishable studies. So when I completed my Bhakti Shastri in 2014, we had a very wonderful teacher, and that teacher was our Gauranga Priya Prabhu. He was our teacher. I don't know, some of you know him. Gauranga Priya Prabhu nowadays is not much in the terms of YouTube or other things, but Gauranga Priya Prabhu is one of the very senior devotees in Chapati, and he had a very dramatic way of teaching Bhagavad Gita. He had a super dramatic way of teaching Bhagavad Gita. So for every verse, every few verses, and every few section, there used to be dramas, and through the drama, and sometimes he used to show some movies also. I remember, to explain one verse of Bhagavad Gita 2.7 to 2.14, he showed us some little hatke way of teaching. He showed us the, what we say, Bollywood movie, and it was very surprising in Brahmachari Ashram how Bollywood movie is being played, and people were surprised what is being happening there. And he showed us some Bollywood movie, and after this, all the devotees understood, yes, this is perfect. This is what is situation going with Arjuna. So when we actually understand why Arjun is asking what he's asking, generally most of the devotees have difficulty in reading Bhagavad Gita, because we find, अरे क्या चल रहा है अर्जुन के मन में अचानक, कि क्यों पूछ रहा है, and we feel series of disconnected points. Suddenly इस point से इस point पे jump किया, इस point से उस point पे jump किया, and that becomes a very tough. So just to give a brief summary, all of you had I think, shloka recitations and latter, what we said, this section of Bhagavad Gita. So in the first 6 chapters, as we know, this revision might have been done many times. The first 6 chapters especially talk about the Karma Yoga section, how Karma Yoga and Krishna consciousness. So middle 6 chapters, they speak about Bhakti Yoga in special. So in the 7th chapter onwards to 12th chapter, so the 7th chapter, Krishna spoke about knowledge, how knowledge is very important, because in the 6th chapter, there was a Dhyana Yoga section. And in Dhyana Yoga section, so the first 6 chapter, living entity has been described as that he is not a spirit, he is not body, he is spirit, and he has capacity to realize himself by the process of self-realization and participating in the different kinds of yogas. So the first he mentioned six Karma Yoga. And at this end of 6th chapter, especially when Dhyan Yoga was being discussed, so at the end of 6th chapter, Krishna spoke about who is the best of all the yogis. And in that he mentioned about the best of all the yogis is one who meditates upon me inside his heart. And that from there the connection starts to Bhakti Yoga. So till yoga becomes yoga only when there is involvement of Krishna or involvement of some bhakti into it. Otherwise, that yoga is not yoga. So karma yoga becomes karma yoga when there is bhakti inside it. Otherwise, that is just a karma. Dhyan yoga becomes yoga. It is only if Krishna is involved there. Otherwise, it simply becomes dhyan. And similarly, we are into Jnana yoga. It also becomes Jnana yoga when there is some connection with bhakti there. So what is the connection of bhakti? So Krishna is going from Dhyan Yoga to Bhakti Yoga jump, which happens. That is especially when a yogi is encouraged to meditate on the form of Lord within his heart. And that is the way the connection happens. So now to meditate on someone, like if I ask you something, can you please meditate on the form of Mr. Bunty Agrawal? Or let's say, if I say you, can you meditate on the form of Mr. Some XYZ or Mr. Petnik Deshmukh? Now you may say, what is Petnik Deshmukh? Who is, I know Deshmukh, I know Petnik, but what is this Rasabhas and what is this combination? And suddenly you may say, I'm not able to imagine. I'm not able to imagine the form. But now if I ask you a question, if you ask you a question about, can you immediately remember, let's say, Radhavrindan Chandra? Or if you can remember, let's say, your mother or your father, immediately the form of your mother and father comes to the mind. Why? Because of association and because of the knowledge. So we need to associate with a person whom we want to meditate, and we want to know something. So the more and more we know about a person whom we are going to meditate, then that's the meditation improves. So in the 7th chapter, in the beginning, Krishna explains the process of Bhakti Yoga very elaborately. And especially in the earlier sections, Krishna spoke about how to get liberation by deliberation, by renunciation in the action, by Karma Yoga, and by devotion in action. And it was very tough. But now Krishna speaks little directly that Shravanam. Shravanam is the first step, and Shravanam is especially about hearing about the Supreme Lord, is the foremost by which we can know about Lord in full, and there is no other way. So he said only by Shravanam one can know something about Supreme Lord in full and getting the purports from revealed acharyas. So in the seventh chapter, Krishna was especially Krishna encouraged Arjuna to hear about him. And so in the seventh chapter, a lot of discussion about hearing and how the pure devotee is very rare. Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanaman Man Prapadyate. And there was also discussion about demigod worship versus Mayavad. Who are the demigod worship? Who are the people who go to demigod worship? How demigod worship, actually the results offered by demigod worship are also offered by Krishna. Then the different kinds of impersonalists. Then Krishna speaks about how impersonalist people are unintelligent. Avyaktam, what is that shloka? Avyaktam vyaktim apannam manyante mam abuddhaya. So that all shlokas Krishna spoke in the seventh chapter, and how to go from Maya from Maya to Krishna. That was being also mentioned in the last part of the seventh chapter. And who is a person who will become determined in the bhakti? In that section, Krishna speaks about yesham tu antagatam papam, that one who is free from all kinds of sin, one whose all sins are eradicated, and one who has engaged in pious activities in this life and the present lives. Such people, they engage in bhakti with a great determination. So this was about the seventh chapter. And now, so it was mentioned that the purpose of all the bhakti is to attain the supreme. The purpose of all this bhakti yoga is to attain. The purpose of entire hearing is to attain the supreme. So then Arjuna has some questions about. Arjuna suddenly got a question about, okay, you're talking about attaining the supreme, but I want to know what exactly Supreme does. What is Brahma? What is Adhyatma? What is Adibhuta? And now you may ask why he got question. Yeah, Acharyas do explain sometimes that he got question because of this or that, but it's a dialogue. Now, why you got exactly some question, we may not be able to answer very clearly always. Some Acharyas give understanding about why Arjuna asked this question suddenly. But these questions were asked by Arjuna. What is karma? What is Adibhuta? What is Kala and all those Prayana Kala. So in the 8th chapter again started that how to remember Krishna at the time of death. And there was a lot of focus on Antakale Chamameva, Smaran Muktva Kalevaram, and all that shloka. How one should remember Krishna by pure bhakti. And if one remembers Krishna by pure bhakti, this is the way to attain the supreme. And there was a distinction between material world and spiritual world, that what is material world and what is spiritual world, and how one who attains to the Krishna's abode, he will never returns to this material world. So this was mentioned because what happens, Krishna explained a lot of things in the in the seventh chapter. Krishna spoke so much about Brahman. Then he got a question that what is Brahman, what is Adibhut, what is Prayanakal, and what happens at the time of death. So this was all spoken in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that is attaining the supreme. And we find in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, again, that is a very famous shloka, very famous chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that is Raj, what is that? Raj Yoga. That is most confidential knowledge, the Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. So in that chapter, Krishna especially mentioned to him how to fix your life on Ananya Bhakti. Bhakti is not sufficient, but Ananya Bhakti is important. Ananya Bhakti means unalloyed Bhakti. Don't mix Bhakti with anything else. Ananya, pure sweet rice, pure water. Whenever we refer to water, generally we want pure water. We don't say 50% dilute water, 50% contaminated water. So he said pure water, pure Bhakti, Ananya Bhakti. So he said, Krishna spoke in the 9th chapter, now I'm going to give you some knowledge about myself, which I have never spoken before. And if you know this knowledge, then you will become pure devotee of mine. And you will become Ananya Bhakta of mine. So the second to sixth chapter, 2 to 6 chapter of Bhagavad Gita are called as confidential knowledge. Then 7 to 8 chapter are called as more confidential knowledge. And 9 chapter to 12 chapter are called as most confidential knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So in the he spoke a lot about what we say, Krishna glorifies the knowledge, and many beautiful shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, Api Chet Sudaracharo, and all these very beautiful shlokas, they come here. And these are especially meant for how to engage into Ananya Bhakti. And even if somebody commits mistake, Api Chet Sudaracharo, on the path of Bhakti, still he is never at loss. That was also even sinful people. So very hope-giving shlokas were given that even the most sinful people coming from any background, they can also attain to me, attain that they can also attain Krishna. That was being spoken. Mam hi partha vyapashritya ye pishu papayonaya striya vaishya. So whether someone is stri, someone is vaishya, someone is coming from shudra, less than shudra, they can also attain to the supreme destination. Now he said what to speak of the qualified people. So those who are qualified, so basically, the entire essence of 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita was one should worship Krishna only. There is no need of other thing. So the 9.34, Krishna says again and again, Manmana, Bhavamad Bhakto, Madhya Jimam Namaskuru. And so he said, take complete shelter of me. There is no need of taking shelter of any other process besides this. That was the gist of entire 9th chapter. Now in the 10th chapter, I'm taking the fast summary because to get an understanding why we are entering into the 13th chapter. So again in the 10th chapter, in the 9th chapter, Krishna again said, fix your mind upon me, fix your mind upon me, manmana, bhavamad bhakto. So Krishna is telling, now we can meditate on the mind of someone, we can fix our mind on something to which we are attracted. So Krishna wants us to attract, he wants that we should get attracted to Krishna. And generally, we are attracted to which kind of people? We are attracted to people, those who are little having some aishwarya. They are having some opulence. Somebody is beautiful, somebody is talented, somebody is intelligent, somebody is very strength wala person. So we develop some attraction and liking for him. So in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, opulence of the absolute, Krishna speaks very detailed way about how you can develop attraction for me. So he tells about so many opulences. I am the source of all, I am knowledge, and one who knows me is freed from all sins, and many other things in the 10th and 11th chapter. All those qualities are being spoken about. Among Adityas, I am Vishnu. Among luminaries, I am Sun. Among Rudras, I am Shankara. Among mountains, I am Mount Meru. So he's giving, because we have not seen Krishna, Krishna is trying to give some indication to us that how great I am. Because generally somebody is very great, then we develop some awe and reverence for him, we develop some attraction for him. So in the 10th chapter he spoke about this. And in the 11th chapter again of Bhagavad Gita, that is universal form, this Virata Roop, which was being shown. So he said, in the 10th chapter, Krishna spoke about him, and actually Arjun, the entire universe I control just by entire universe is resting on me as a fragment. So my power is so much. So Arjuna got a doubt. Arey, really, Krishna? Entire Brahmanda and all the Brahmanda is resting upon you as just a fragment. Really, you are so great. But I may get faith on this. I may get a faith on this because I am devotee of yours. But if you speak such big things, you have to prove little bit. Like suppose if I say, if I casually say, recently I had a meeting with Narendra Modi, and all of the devotees may ask, Acha Prabhu, you may ask Prabhu, Acha, you had a meeting with Narendra Modi? Really? How does he know you? So big thing, no? So if you are speaking such a big thing, then you have to prove also. So Arjuna said, you prove that your connections are very big and your activities are very big. And so Krishna demonstrated the universal form in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and he showed his four-handed form, and he showed his Vishwaroop. And Arjuna was not interested in this kind of form. Arjuna was interested in the Saumya form of the Lord, the beautiful looking form. So Arjuna again asked him that, okay, Krishna showed how the time I am, everything is being destroyed by me, and my so many incomparable powers. So uh, if you want to see the form of Krishna, then pure bhakti is the only way. by pure bhakti only, one can see the form of Krishna. So that Virat Rupa was shown. And again, it was a temporary form. It is not the eternal form of the Lord. So now coming to the 12th chapter, that is Bhakti Yoga, Krishna is speaking especially here. What is the Arjuna basically asked a question: who is great devotee, whether impersonalist or personalist? Now, amazing thing, Krishna told so many times that fix your form upon me, meditate on me. But Arjuna is getting a question that actually who is better? Because there are some people who say that there is no form of God, they are impersonalist. And there are some people who say there is a form of God, they are personalist. So again, Arjuna got a confusion. Who is better? Whether personalist devotee is better or impersonalist person is better. So Krishna again spoke about that supremacy of Krishna, that supremacy of bhakti, and the progressive stages of bhakti. That if you cannot do this, do this. If you cannot do this, then do this. And in the last 7-8 shlokas, Krishna spoke greatly about what are the various qualities of a devotee which attract Krishna. So this was spoken in the great detail, and I heard many of you might have recited some shlokas, the very nice shloka of Bhagavad Gita, chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter, the qualities which attract Krishna. Now, amazing thing, as we are jumping into the 13th chapter now, which is going to be really a little technical, but this chapter is very, very important because and it may appear that this knowledge we have learned in Discover Yourself course only. We have learned about soul and super soul and all. But here, Arjuna, by this 13th chapter, comes to the picture. So if let me ask you a question, what do you think? If Bhakti Yoga is the culmination of all the goals, means the Bhakti Yoga is the goal of conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, then why Jnana Yoga, which is not to be done by devotees, why Jnana Yoga must be given at the last? That is 13th chapter. Anyone knows about this? Why 13th chapter is speaking about Jnana Yoga? Because generally last में conclusion आना चाहिए. So conclusion should come in the last. But now Bhakti is, we say that Bhakti is put as a sandwich. भक्ति को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए ज्ञान योग कर्म योग का कोटिंग दिया है ऊपर नीचे. लेकिन ज्ञान योग डिवोटिव्स के लिए क्या काम का? अल्टीमेटली हमें अगर भक्ति करनी है, then why ज्ञान योगा is important? Anyone would like to raise? You can raise your hands, or maybe you can write in the chat box also. What do you feel? Why Jnana Yoga must be discussed at the end? Okay. So we have Aman Prabhu. Yes, Aman Prabhu.
Prabhuji, actually, if I'm not wrong, then I think Gyan Yoga is used by devotees as we are in a preparatory stage, taking shelter and knowledge. So if we will be having knowledge, then it will help us to cut out the illusion which we see around. So
Yeah,
that's what my understanding is.
perfect, perfect. Anyone else, Sumitru? Anything other?
So the same thing. If you also said that if you want to like someone, then we have to be like associate with them, and for that actually we should have knowledge.
Okay.
So although we want to practice bhakti, but we should have the knowledge so we can understand about Krishna, his associate, and we can advance in bhakti.
Okay, very good. So we find this Jnana Yoga section. So we find there are two primary goals. Just a minute. I'll switch off the window, close the window. There is a Harinam coming here. Yeah. So we find as we are practicing devotees, as our Raman Prabhu also mentioned, we want to develop attraction for Krishna. But at the same time, there is one big problem which is happening with all of us, and which is very practical problem. Although Krishna has spoken that Bhakti Yoga is a topmost solution, meditate upon me, fix your mind upon me. But as a practical sadhaka, there is a great struggle. Because currently our meditation is something on different only. Our absorption is something very different only. And suddenly shift from absorption to Maya, absorption to matter. So from absorption to matter to absorption to Krishna, this sudden switch becomes very difficult for the devotees. And all of us have problems coming because of mind and anarthas and all. So this Anartha Nivritti, 13th chapter onwards, this chapter is especially helpful for taking out this process of Anartha Nivritti. Although it is very technical, but this helps. You can just imagine even Mayavadi people, those who are not practicing bhakti, like they may not get the topmost goal of life and all those, but they are also able to develop detachment and dispassion from Maya, or they are also able to develop what we say detachment from the matter and lust and anger and all. Sometimes even if you approach Mayavadi people, they will be in very much goodness. You may think, अरे कैसे ऐसे व्यक्ति को disturb नहीं हो रहा है? So they are not doing bhakti, but this knowledge is helpful. This knowledge is anukul. So this jnana is not a Mayavad jnana, or this is bhakti rahit jnana. This jnana which is being spoken is the jnana which is anukul to bhakti and which helps us to develop this detachment from the matter. So in the beginning, so in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in one of the shlokas, what was that? Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsar. That in the 12.7, no? What is 12.7 shloka? Anyone shloka pandit here? 12.7 was which one? 12.5 was klesho dikteris tesham. 12.7 was which one?
Yes, Guruji. Tesham samudharta.
Correct. Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat. Bhavat meena chirat partham. So in that shloka, Krishna says, I am the swift deliverer. I am a swift deliverer of all the people from the ocean of nescience, and I take them from there to bhakti. So this 12.7 also serves as a connecting link between 12th chapter and the 13th chapter, that Krishna is telling that I am a swift deliverer. So how do I swiftly deliver? So I give that jnana. I give that jnana which helps a person to overcome and to produce detachment from the matter, and it helps us to produce attachment to Krishna. So in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, in the 12th, this chapter 12.7, 13th chapter, Arjuna basically got some questions. Arjuna got 6 questions, and Krishna is going to answer them. So what questions he got? I'll just show some small PPT, and today I think we'll be able to cover around some 2-3 verses from this chapter, and in the next session we may go a little more faster because today I took overview. So this is the small gist of 13th chapter. I hope, Prabhu, this PPT is visible. Is this clear?
Yes, Guruji. Yes, Guruji.
So basically, what is the Phalashruti of this 13th chapter, right? So Mayuresh Prabhu, please read.
One who understands the difference between the body, the soul, and the super soul beyond them both attain liberation from this material world.
So as I mentioned, in one shot, if you want to know what is the theme, overall theme of this chapter, is to understand the difference between body, that is called as Kshetra, soul, that is called as Kshetragnya, and super soul. Super soul is called as another Kshetragnya, that is Paramatma. So when one understands this clear-cut difference between what is body, what is soul, what is super soul, what super soul does, what body does, how body was created, why body was created, and why body produces suffering, and what is the activity which soul does, and what is the activity which super soul does. So this is the discussion in the entire 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. To know very clearly about body, to know very clear about soul, and to know something very clear about super soul. So many of times we very casually say, I am not this body, I am spirit soul. And I think even a Bachcha Bachcha in ISKCON, जैसे there was a गाना था ना, बच्चा बच्चा का प्रभु श्री राम कहेगा, गाँव भारत का बच्चा बच्चा something. There was a गाना which is very famous nowadays in Ram Navami. Everywhere I used to hear this. भारत का बच्चा बच्चा प्रभु श्री राम कहेगा. तो मैं बोला ISKCON का बच्चा बच्चा भी जानता है ये नॉलेज तो, राइट? ISKCON का बच्चा बच्चा बोलेगा मैं बॉडी नहीं, मैं स्पिरिट सोल हूँ. लेकिन to say such things are very easy, and I can frankly admit for me also, to say I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul, very easy to speak upon. But when the plate of prasadam comes, and when the plate of mango, especially mangoes come and sweets come and all, and that time all the philosophy just evaporates from there. And when the attractions given by Maya come, Suddenly we forget all those body, soul, and super soul all goes to the oblivion. So, but here, if we take out a time to very systematically understand what is body, why body was created at all, why body produces suffering, and what activities body is doing, what activities soul is doing, what activities super soul is doing, whether soul and super soul are the same, because as Mayavadis tell that, so what are the 24 elements? And so according to Mayavadis, there are 24 elements or 25 elements, including soul. Vaishnavas and the personalists, they speak about 26 elements. We follow 26 elements. Mayavadis, they say 26th element and 25th element are the same one. So this chapter is mainly going to discuss something about this. And the chapter's name, technical name, the Sanskrit name for this chapter is Kshetra, Kshetragna, Vibhaga Yoga. Kshetra, Kshetragna, Vibhaga Yoga. This is the name of the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What is Kshetra? What is Kshetragna? And what is the Vibhag? What is the difference between them? And that is the yoga. So this is the difference. This is the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So to summarize this, what all things we are going to study in this chapter, I already gave a hint to you. So already I asked you this question. Okay. So in this chapter, Arjuna begins with some 6 questions. Now you may say, why he got suddenly this question? That is not being mentioned. Like why he suddenly got? Because sometimes in a discussion, people do jump from one topic to another topic. So Arjuna asked these 6 questions here. Maybe what I will do, I'll try to share some small video with you now, if it is possible to share. In that way, little gist of this all will come very faster. I'll just check if it is possible to share for me. Prabhu, if you are able to see that and able to hear, then let me know. I'm optimizing for the video clip. Just let me know. Are you able to see the screen, Prabhu? So I'll just recite some few shlokas, then we'll discuss about this. Generally, in any Bhakti Shastri class or any this class, technical study classes, there is a very important aspect of recitation of shlokas. Because if every session, if we recite shlokas even for 5 minutes or 2-3 minutes, then these shlokas enter very deeply. So if you're able to see the screen.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Music was also audible, right? No?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Fine. So although this is not exactly what we said is a very famous video, but this is just a recitation of shlokas, nothing else, in a dramatic way.
In chapter 13, Sri Krishna answers 3 pairs of questions asked by Arjuna. First, what are Kshetra and Kshetragna, the field of experience and the experiencer? Second, what are Jnanam and Jneyam, knowledge and the object to be known? And finally, what are Prakriti and Purusha, nature and consciousness?
Prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetrajna eva cha etad veditumichhami jnanam jneyam cha keshava.
Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityabhidhiyate etad yo veti tam prahuhu kshetrajna iti tadvidah. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu bharata. Kshetrajnayor jnanam yatta jnanam matam mama तत्क्षेत्रं यच्च यादृच्च यद्विकारि यतश्च यत् स च यो यत्प्रभावश्च तत्समासेन मे शृणु ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपठैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चितैः महाभूतान्यहङ्कारो बुद्धिरव्यक्तमेव च इन्द्रियाणि दशैकञ्च पञ्चचेन्द्रियगोचराः इच्छा द्वेषः सुखं दुःखं सङ्घातश्चेतना धृतिः एतत् क्षेत्रं समासेन सविकारमुदाहृतम्.
Next, Sri Krishna explains Jnanam, spiritual knowledge, by identifying 20 important qualities that must be cultivated by one who wants to gain that knowledge. Then he explains Jnayam, the object to be known, as being Brahman, absolute reality.
अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि दुःखदोषाणुदर्शनम् असक्तिरणभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यततोऽन्यथा ज्ञेयम्.
So,
Guruji, you are on mute.
so very dramatic way. There was a recitation of shloka here. So in this, why I took till 12 shlokas? Because in the next upcoming 2 or 3 classes, we'll cover up to there, the first 12 shlokas. So this gives a gist of what all things are going to be discussed. So I'll share now, continue with the PPT here. You can see this. So Arjuna basically asked 6 questions to Krishna. What is Prakriti? What is Purusha? What is Kshetra? What is Kshetragnya? What is Jnanam? And what is Gneyam? So Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetragnya, Jnanam and Gneyam. So Krishna first answers the third. He doesn't answer about Prakriti and Purusha because Prakriti and Purusha खुद के बारे में आ रहा है ना. मतलब पुरुष जो है वो खुद के बारे में उनको बताना पड़ेगा ना. Who is पुरुष, who is Prakriti. खुद का गुणगान पहले नहीं करना चाहिए. तो पहले कृष्णा is speaking about क्षेत्र. पहले आप कौन हो, आपका आत्मा क्या है, and what is Jnanam. So that is being spoken by Krishna first. So answers to third question, fourth question and fifth question are given first, and then later the answers about question 1 and question 2 will come, and in between he will ask more questions, so more answers will be given. So in the verses 2, so we'll discuss only this section today, that what is the questions asked by Arjun and what are the answers given by Krishna about Kshetra, Kshetragnya and Jnanam. Then he will quote other authorities also, because Krishna, this is the way of giving Vedic knowledge. Whenever you speak anything, you have to give a reference for it, because without giving a reference, our talk doesn't have such a great value. So just imagine Krishna is the greatest authority. But Krishna will also give reference to different other authorities, other saintly people, those who speak about the same subject matter. How Vedanta Sutras, he's only compiler of Vedanta, but he will give references to Vedanta. He will give reference to other saintly people, that what knowledge I am giving is a knowledge. So then he explains Jnanam. Then 13 to 19, he explains Gneyam. And the 20 to 26, he will explain what is Prakriti, Purusha, and their union. And so in the last part, he will speak about Jnana Chakshusha. From Charma Chakshu to Jnana Chakshu. एक गॉगल पहनो, ऐसा गॉगल जिससे नॉलेज का विजन आ जाए. जैसे हमने एक नाम दिया था, विजडम आई, eyes of wisdom. So Jnana Chakshu. So that will be discussed here. So someone can read this, Prabhu. This is the connecting link between 12th chapter to 13th chapter. Someone can read in the middle 6th chapter and in the final 6 chapters. Please read this.
In the middle 6 chapters, Krishna describes Bhakti Yoga along with the precise nature of the Jiva, the Lord and matter, and how they are related. The first 6 chapters showed how karma leads to bhakti, and the last 6 chapter will show how jnana leads to bhakti.
And in the final
Should I
6
read?
chapters, yeah.
The final 6 chapters, Krishna described jnana. I heard it is not visible.
Oh, not
That is for
visible.
me. For me, it is not visible. I don't know about others.
Others are able to see?
That some screen is there, Prabhuji. We need to move that.
Oh, really? Oh, I understood. Because of that optimized sharing, no? Optimize had to be removed now. Now?
Now it is visible. In the final 6 chapters, Krishna described jnana mixed with bhakti while indirectly showing Kevala Bhakti to be the supreme. In the 13th chapter, Krishna speaks detailed knowledge of the body, the jiva, the Paramatma, and Prakriti.
Yeah. So basically, this is the theme of the entire discussion. So we'll get many questions about knowing our body only. What is body? Not in a medical way, how the digestion happens and all that. Those things we are not going to discuss. This body, why body? This body came only, and why these all problems came only. So this will be the discussion of this. What is Paramatma and what is Prakriti? So first shloka. One devotee can recite, maybe Mohan Saka Prabhu, you can recite this shloka, 13.1 and 13.2. Please recite.
13. Prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetra jnana eva ch. Edam veditum ichchami jnanam gyeyam cha keshava. 13.2. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti abhidhiyate. Idam yo vetitam prabhuhu kshetragya iti tadvidah.
Yeah, very good. So these are the Arjuna's 6 questions which are being asked. What is Prakriti? What is Purusha? What is Kshetra? What is Kshetragnya? And etad veditum ichchami. I am very desirous to know about this. And also Jnanam, Gneyam, Cha Keshava. So if you see the word Cha, in the previous sections also you might have seen, whenever Cha comes, Cha means etc. When you say etc. Cha means understood, that etc. has a very great meaning. I want to know about this, etc. That etc. means heavy things. Means sometimes 2 chapters may go about Cha. That Cha wala answering. So here he said, Idam Shariram Kaunteya. So we'll try to read this purport, certain sections of this purport, because Bhaktivedanta purports are very important. Then I may come to the slides and some better whatever explanations to just highlight Prabhupada purports. Okay. So one devotee who is a very good reader of Prabhupada, we can read this. Although this purport is a very big, but I'll try in between. I may try to ask you to underline some points which are very important. And maybe sometimes teacher releases some IMP questions. So that been Bhakti Shastri IMP questions are released, then exams become very easy. So I'll also sometimes release some IMP questions in the terms of not IMP questions, but IMP bullet points. So 1 minute. Maybe shall I share the screen for you, or you all of you have Bhagavad Gita with you? Okay.
Shivaji, you can share so that we can know where actually to check for the purport or anything.
Okay, Prabhu, fine. 13.1. Hit list. Hit list. Okay, Shantanu Prabhu, or you can appoint some devotee every time. I will ask you to appoint. You can appoint some devotees to read.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'll go alphabetically. That will be most easy.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Abhishek Prabhu.
Translation. Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about
Your
Prakriti,
voice is less,
nature."
Prabhu. Little louder.
Okay. Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field." Purport. Arjuna was inquisitive about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, Kshetra, the field, Kshetrajna, its knower, and knowledge, and the object of knowledge. When he inquired about all this, Krishna said that this body is called the field, and that one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. This body is the field of activity for the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul is entrapped in material existence, and he attempts to lord it over material nature. And so, according to his capacity to dominate material nature, he gets a field of activity. That field of activity is the body. And what? Okay. And what is the body? The body is made of senses. The conditioned soul wants to enjoy sense gratification, and according to his capacity to enjoy sense gratification, he is offered a body or field of activity. Therefore, the body is called Kshetra, or the field of activity for the conditioned soul. Now, the person who should not identify himself with the body is called Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. It is not very difficult to understand the difference between the field and its knower, the body and the knower of the body. Any person can consider that from childhood to old age, he undergoes so many changes of body, and it is still one person remaining. Thus, there is a difference between the knower of the field of activities and the actual field of activities. A living conditioned soul can thus understand that he is different from the body. It is described in the beginning, the he knows mean, that the living entity is within the body, and that the body is changing from childhood to boyhood, and from boyhood to youth, and from youth to old age, and the person who owns the body knows that the body is changing. The owner is distinctly Kshetrajna. Sometimes we think, I am happy, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a dog, I am a cat. These are bodily designations of the knower, but the knower is different from the body. Although we may use many articles, our clothes, etc., we know that we are different from the things used. Similarly, we also understand by a little contemplation that we are different from the body. I or you or anyone else who owns the body is called Kshetrajna, the knower of the field of activities, and the body is called Kshetra, the field of activities itself. In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the knower of the body, the living entity, and the position by which he can understand the Supreme Lord are described. In the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the relationship between the individual soul and the super soul in regard to devotional service are described. The superior position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the subordinate position of the individual soul are definitely defined in these chapters. The living entities are subordinate under all circumstances, but in their forgetfulness they are suffering. When enlightened by pious activities, they approach the Supreme Lord in different capacities as the distressed, those in want of money, the inquisitive, and those in search of knowledge. That is also described. Now, starting with the 13th chapter, how the living entity comes into contact with material nature and how he is delivered by the Supreme Lord through the different methods of fruitive activities, cultivation of knowledge, and the discharge of devotional service are explained. Although the living entity is completely different from the material body, it somehow becomes related. He somehow becomes related. This also is explained.
Prabhupada gave an entire summary of what is there in the first this chapter. So the first two shlokas. Krishna said that this body is called. By the way, Shantanu Prabhu, we take till 8 or 8:5. How much we take?
Proji, by 8:15, if possible, including question and answers also.
I'll end till 8:05 and then 10 minutes in case somebody has question. Okay. So basically here Krishna is saying that this body is called as field. Like if I come to this PPT now, you just see here. There is a field here. So Kisan is there. Kisan is given field to cultivate. And this field, he has an opportunity. So the field is called as, now in the earlier times, because you know, Krishna and Arjuna and all, very special times, Satyug, Dwapar Yug and all, that time Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijya and all that was, so field is being mentioned. Nowadays, many times field, we only know which field, I don't know, which field work means industrial visit and all, that field only we know. Nowadays, industry is also not there, only sitting on laptop only. We don't hardly, job is like sitting on laptop. But these analogies, they help us to explain, understand that field. The field is called as the body. And the person who is cultivating the field is known as knower of the field. So क्षेत्र means आपको अपना अपना क्षेत्र मिलता है. तो हमें भी एक क्षेत्र मिला है. हमारा शरीर जो है ये एक क्षेत्र है. और क्षेत्र में क्या होता है? हम अच्छा पौधा लगा सकते हैं. We can cultivate good crops, or we can cultivate bad crops. We can cultivate tobacco also. We can cultivate even drugs also, or we can have a poultry farm also. But on the other hand, we can have a good plants, mango and all other good grains plants also. So who does this cultivation? This cultivation is done by Kshetragnya, one who is the owner of the field, or one who is the knower of the field. Knower and the owner, both. So now, so there are two kinds of owner to this field. One owner is a temporary owner because he will keep on changing the field. Today, this field is given to him to cultivate. Tomorrow, another field will be given to him to cultivate. But there is one more knower that is actually owner. That is, he is a final owner, and that is super soul. Kshetragnya. Kshetragnya refers to super soul. So Prabhupada in the purport, he explained, how do we get a field? So based on our capacity to enjoy and based on our desires, the field is given. So somebody is offered the body of a cat, somebody is offered the body of a dog, somebody is offered beautiful body, not so beautiful body, and all these things. And Prabhupada is saying anyone with little contemplation is required. So 13th chapter, all this Jnana Yoga, na? So we need some contemplation. This is when many times I used to ask His Grace Radhesham Prabhu, Prabhuji, there is a lot of theoretical knowledge for me. So much knowledge I have taken, so many lectures I have attended, so many lectures I have given, but still I find that when I come to apply practical knowledge, all this knowledge I forget. So Prabhuji said, most of the times the problem with the devotees, he said, is they hear, but they do not contemplate. So contemplation, that is called as mananam or dhyan, mananam. So we do shravanam, we do mananam, we do kirtanam. So then the process becomes very complete. So kirtanam is also very important aspect. Share this knowledge with others, whatever you have heard. So as of now, all of you are giving me opportunity to share this. But mananam means a little contemplation. As Prabhupada said, little contemplation on the subject matter will make us convinced that I'm not this body. Although I'm trying to give my entire life, an entire mission is to protect body only. if you really see, means any ordinary materialistic person, why is working? To maintain his body. Why is getting married? To produce more bodies. Why is producing children? So we find all this entire purpose of life is just centered around this body only. But Krishna is attacking the root only. Krishna is telling you are not this body only. So it's a very big, और जैसे ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम होता है ना, ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम कंप्यूटर में एक ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम होता है और उसके ऊपर बहुत सारे सॉफ्टवेयर्स होते हैं. लेकिन जब ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम ही करप्ट हो जाता है तो कंप्यूटर पूरा माल फंक्शन करता है. तो हमारा भी जो ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम है वो है संबंध ज्ञान. संबंध ज्ञान मीन्स टू अंडरस्टैंड क्लियरली आई एम नॉट दिस बॉडी, I am actually Atma, pure Atma. I am not supposed to suffer like this in the material world. And I am supposed to. So, what is the purpose? So, in this chapter, Krishna is speaking mainly about this Kshetrajna. And Prabhupada said, although living entity is completely different from material body, somehow or other, he has come in the contact with material body. Now, why he will come, that is a different part. But somehow or other, he has come in the contact with the material body. Now what to do ahead? So this will come. I will take only the translation of third chapter, Prabhu, because third shloka is purport is very big. Maybe tomorrow we will cover from 3rd to 8th chapter. 3rd to 8th will cover, and next week we'll complete. One entire session will be required for 8 to 12 verses. So somebody can read the third translation. Okay, I'll just show as I'm showing you here. This is from Baldev Vidyabhushan. Why this knowledge is important? So this Prabhupada speaks in the lecture. Idam shariram kshetram. Just like one who is bodily conscious, he undergoes many severe exercises. Like to make our body fit, we do so many exercises. We do gym, we do yoga. So he said, now we have an opportunity. We can make our body spiritually stronger. As we make our body materially stronger, similarly, when we have got this kshetra, so Prabhupada is writing, in this kshetra, you can produce nice grains, you can produce inferior grains. So similarly, this so you can maybe write this shloka, you can give a title to this shloka as the knowledge of land. Prabhupada has given the shloka, the knowledge of land, the knowledge of tiller, and the knowledge of this. So this is then a tilled. Who is tilling? And land and tiller. So knowledge of land and the tiller of the land. So that is the entire Kshetra and Kshetrajna. So this is from Prabhupada lecture. Why this knowledge is very vital? Because this body can give us best benefit if it is done. Yes, Prabhu, someone can recite this third shloka.
Aditya Gaurang, Prabhu.
Yes, please. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarvashetreshu bharata kshetrajnayor jnanam yattad jnanam matam mama. Real knowledge means understanding the separate existence of the Lord, Jiva and Prakriti, though they mix together.
Yeah. So in the translation, Arjuna, Krishna is telling, oh Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in the body. So in this, if you see, he mentioned Kshetrajna means what? Kshetrajna means knower of the body. And Arjuna, Krishna is telling him, oh Arjuna, don't think that you are the knower of the body or only the soul, Atma is the knower of body. I am also the knower of the body. So here the word cha api, chapi or cha api it is used. Means what? I am also. Like suppose it is being like suppose I am asking, like our Prabhu is serving, let's say our Shantanu Prabhu. Shantanu Prabhu is staying at, say, let's say VIT Voice. He served at VIT Voice. And if I say, I am also part of VIT Voice. So that means he is not the only part of VIT Voice. I am also. When I said also, so he is not the alone. I am also in the management of VIT Voice. If I say, so I am also means there is a special importance given. So because this is the chapter where great difference comes between Mayavadi and Vaishnavas. And this is the most important chapter to understand, because this is the where entire philosophical gadbad happens. That people confuse between Atma and Paramatma and they claim. All the shlokas can be misinterpreted in the another way to make the goal of life different. So here Krishna is telling, Oh Arjun, know for sure. I am also the knower in all the bodies. He is saying, I am knower in all the bodies, and you are knower of only of your body. So like a king may know about all the fields in the state. जिसके पास जितनी भी खेती है सबके बारे में पता है, कितना एकड़ लैंड है, क्या लेकर लैंड है, इसके खेत में क्या उगता है, क्या उगाता है. That king may know about all the fields, but the individual farmer may know only about his field only. What is happening with this? So here as Krishna is telling that is my opinion. That one who knows both this thing on body and its knower, it is actually person who is having knowledge. All other people, those who claim that they are very knowledgeable, they are not knowledgeable. So one who knows very perfectly his body and the knower of the body, he is in the knowledge. All other people are not in the knowledge. This is being mentioned here. So maybe next time we'll start with the purport and little more discussion about the word cha. As I showed, the word cha is very, very crucial here. And that word cha will have a lot of discussion involved by different acharyas. So we'll read this analogy and okay. Just read this analogy and stop for today. Someone can read?
Aditya Bru can continue for this verse.
Okay, good. Yes, Guruji. Citizen may know everything about his patch of land, but the king knows not only his palace but all the properties possessed by the individual citizens. Similarly, one may be the proprietor of the body individually, but the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of all bodies. The king is the original proprietor of the kingdom, and the citizen is the secondary proprietor. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the supreme proprietor of all bodies.
Yeah. And Prabhupada writes there, one should not confuse between these three things. One should not confuse between the painting, and the easel. Easel means the drawing board on which the painting is being done. So he said, don't confuse between the painter who is painting, the painting itself. So painting is compared to the body. Painter is compared to the knower of the body, and the easel. Easel is the thing which holds that body. So don't confuse between all these things. And one who knows these things, he is actual knower. He is the person who is in correct knowledge. So we stop for today. We have just 4 minutes. We have around 8 minutes with us. In case there are some questions, we can take. Or in case if questions are not there, maybe you can share some reflections or maybe whatever you wish to share. Yes, Anil Prabhu, please go on, bro.
Hare Krishna, Puji. Thank you, Puji, for wonderful class. Puji, you give the summary from 1st to 13th chapter, and you told that the situation coming from the more confidential knowledge to the most confidential knowledge. Mostly, Puji, we will see in any scenario that the important knowledge will be provided into the last, and third, second, and first will become. But here in the Bhagavad Gita, we are seeing, Puji, middle, the main knowledge will be available in the middle, and the quoting will be given from the front and the last. So this point I did not understand, Puji. This is looking like a different approach from the traditional approach.
I simple ask you a question. In your school days, in school days, sometimes mothers used to give pocket money to you, right? No? Did you get pocket money anytime in the school days?
Yes, Puji.
Sometimes I remember school का फी भरना होता है या पिकनिक निकलता है या कैंप निकलता है या कुछ खरीदना होता है, important फी सबमिट करना है, तो mother used to give me 100 rupee note that time.
Yes,
Now,
Puji.
as a children, I don't have wallet and compass में भी risky है, तो आप वो पैसे को कहाँ रखते थे? तो आई रिमेम्बर आई यूज्ड टू कीप दैट इन द बुक के बीच में. एक कोई तो बुक होगा, मैथ्स का बुक होगा या फिजिक्स का बुक होगा, फर्स्ट पेज में नहीं रखेंगे, लास्ट पेज में नहीं रखेंगे, कहाँ रखेंगे? एकदम बीचों बीच रखेंगे. क्यों बीचों बीच रखेंगे? पता है घूम सकता है, वेरी रिस्की है, बीच में से पहले घूम जाएगा. सो सिमिलरली एज अ डायमंड कोटिंग इज देयर, डायमंड को कोटिंग की इसमें केसिंग में रखना होता है. ऊपर एक कुछ तो अलग होता है, नीचे एक अलग होता है, और उसके बीचों बीच डायमंड होता है. एंड व्हेन इट इज ऊपर डार्क, नीचे डार्क, एकदम डार्क कलर होता है, ताकि जो डायमंड है वो बहुत हाईलाइटेड तरीके से दिखे एकदम. सो ऊपर जो ज्ञान योग का केसिंग है, नीचे ऊपर कर्मयोग का केसिंग, नीचे ज्ञान योग का केसिंग, और बीचों बीच जो डायमंड है भक्ति का, वो बहुत सुंदर उठ के दिखता है उसमें. सो इट बिकम्स वेरी अट्रैक्टिव ऑल्सो एंड इट इज वेरी सेफली प्रोटेक्टेड. सो एंड भक्ति योगा इज समथिंग विच गिव्स कनेक्शन टू ज्ञान. ज्ञान को भी योग बनाने वाला भक्ति है, इसलिए वो बीच में है. और कर्म को भी ये बनाने वाला, योग बनाने वाला, वो भी भक्ति है, तो इसलिए उसको बीच में रखा गया है, ऐसा आचार्य ने बलदेव भूषण और उन्होंने बताया।
Thank you, Guruji.
हरे कृष्ण। Anyone else would like to say anything? Yes, Prabhuji, Chandrabhushan Prabhuji, please go on.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I am audible.
Yes, sure, very clear.
Prabhuji, like in first slide you showed, in that it is written that one who understands difference between the body, the soul, and the super soul, beyond them both attains liberation from this material world. So I did not understand the word both. Who indicate both? What indicates that liberation from this material world?
One who
Who all
understands,
both
means
to
both of this subject matter. One who understands the difference between the body, soul, and the super soul, beyond them both. Beyond them both means what is the difference? Body, we have to understand the difference between body, the soul, and the super soul. Beyond them both means body, soul, super soul. He said basically, in short, understand the difference between these three things and what they do, then he attains liberation. Basically, that is maybe English I might have done like that, but this is the purpose. Understand the difference between body, soul, super soul, and what is beyond them. This is not something. Beyond them is what? Bhagwan and spiritual world. So he said he attains liberation from this material world.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Guruji, the last analogy you give the point that painter paint and easel bhoje. So what is easel bhoje? I did not understand.
Easel means जो कैनवा होता है ना, कैनवा means जो फ्रेम होता है, वुडन फ्रेम होती है जिसपे पेंटिंग लगती है और उसपे पेंटर ड्रॉ करता है, तो वो जो ईजल है, प्रकृति मतलब कैसे बॉडी बनी है, किसने होल्ड किया है उस बॉडी को, पेंटिंग को होल्ड करने के लिए लगता है ना, पेंटिंग को होल्ड करने के लिए फ्रेम लगती है, तो किस कंस्टिट्यूशन से बनी है, तो दैट इज द ईजल विल कम. Painter means the knower of the one who is designing it, and painting. So Prabhupada gave that analogy. एक है कि एनालॉजी का कुछ ना कुछ लिमिटेशन होता है, तो बहुत डीप में नहीं जाने का, उसको खींचने का नहीं, जितना दिया उतना के लेने का, नहीं तो बहुत ज्यादा डीप में खींचेंगे. एक बार डिवोटी को पूछा बॉडी, सोल, कार का एनालॉजी दिया, बोले वो कार में पेट्रोल खत्म हो गया तो प्रोजेक्ट क्या होगा, फिर वो कार में ऐसा पंचर हो जाएगा तो क्या होगा, वो नहीं, वो एनालॉजी का कुछ पर्पज है, उसके आगे ज्यादा खींचने का नहीं, तो या Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you very much, Prabhus. So I hope, I don't know. So are we going too slow, too fast, or maybe you can mention that कुछ change करना है तो कल change कर देंगे. Tomorrow onwards we'll focus more on Prabhupada purports also, and vital points on Prabhupada purports, and the connecting link between the different verses. Jai. Thank you devotees. Hare Krishna. We'll stop here. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यो एव च
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः.
अनन्तकोटि वैष्णववृन्द
जय. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.